Hello, welcome to Clarity Design. Today we're looking at May 2011 and I'm just going to show you very quickly how to generate an environment to start putting objects or elements into. Going a little bit old school on this, we'll start off by just making a plane. So we use polygon plane, we go to create polygons and we'll create a plane. And I'll make that about the size of the grid here just for argument's sake this time around. Obviously that could be any size that you wanted. And straight into the channel bar here, other option for selecting that is up there at the top. You want to go and find the inputs or the history, and we want to subdivide that. So first of all, we'll just make it a nice even shape, so we'll make that 25 by 25. And then again in the inputs or history of this polyplane, we're just going to subdivide that maybe 25 times each direction, so you can see the square. So that's so that we can deform it, so we can play around with it. So we're going to learn how to use the Sculpt geometry tool now. And the Sculpt geometry tool is a really useful tool for deforming surfaces. For it to work, you have to have vertex in the right places. So if we just go to vertex, you can see that at each of the cross sections of those points, you've got small dots, and those vertex, and they're what's needed. So that the Sculpt geometry tool can deform the surface. So you need to go to Mesh and go down to Sculpt geometry tool and click on that, and you'll see that your brush opens up. If you want to see the brush options, just go to the little square next to it, and then you've got the brush options down the side. So let's go through this fairly quickly. So let's just start going down this. So radius U is the size of your brush, so obviously if you increase that, then it'll increase the size. You can also do that by pressing B on the keyboard and dragging sideways to interactively change the size of that radius U. Opacity is obviously how opaque the brush is, whether it's painting at full or partial opacity. And then we've got the different profiles. This is like having different faces to the brush, and it's got square, solid, sharp edge round, soft edge round, and a very soft brush here. I tend to use a very soft one to start sculpting. And then you've got these different operations that seem similar to the sort of thing you might see in Mudbox if you used Mudbox before. And you can pinch, squeeze, depress, smooth, and if you hover over it, it should tell you exactly what it's doing. So relax, and then pinch and erase. So you've got an auto smooth there. So there's lots of options down here in terms of how you want it to deform it. So whether it's from the normal or from viewpoint. So let's just do a couple of these. So let's go from the normal at the moment. Let's create a depression along the centre here, almost like a valley, and we'll just go backwards and forwards. And obviously, the more I do this, the deeper it will get. So if you want to have a look at that, just use the Alt key to have a look around. You see the depression down the centre there. Pretty nasty at the moment. So let's what we can do is we can invert that. We can make it a pull, so that it's pulling it up. Maybe a little mountain range down here. So you can see I'm generating the sort of kind of a landscape kind of effect going on. So I'll just pull up some mountains down there as well. We'll leave it at that for now. Then I can go and get my auto smooth. Let's just have a look at these different views first of all. So I could do it on the X, Z or Y axis, but another one that's quite useful is view. So what's going to happen now is it's going to pull it straight towards the view. So let's use this mountain range over here. So because of the position of the camera, as I'm moving it around, it's pulling it towards the view, towards the camera point. So it looked like it wasn't doing a lot, but you can see just how ragged that's made that. Alright, so you can play around with view as well. Let's go back to normal. We'll just go and smooth this down a little bit. So I'll just rub over. Now you can flood the area to smooth it. And you can change how much displacement the brush has there as well. So there's loads of options down here. You can use stylus pressure. You can even change the stroke so that you've got reflection. This is really useful if you've got things based around the centre of the grid. For example, you could start deforming or modelling eyes from a cylindrical surface or a sphere surface, and this would allow you to do reflective strokes that were identical on each side of whichever axis you're using. So that's using the Sculpt geometry tool. Loads of fun, nice and easy to do, but it does rely on having this network of vertex so that you can deform that surface. So that's really important. So I've got my surface there sorted. What I can do is I can actually add that to a layer and switch it off if I want to. So just the introduction to layers here. So let's go layers, we'll create an empty layer, and on that layer we just want to right click and go to add selected objects. Now the advantage of having things on layers is that you can switch the visibility on and off, but you can also make things so that they are there but unselectable. Okay, so that's T, or template mode, and you can see that I can't select that now. It's there, it's visible, I can see where it is, but I can't select it accidentally, and that just makes it nice and easy for me to then start working in or around that space. I've also got a rendered view, so let's just press 6. So we've got a rendered view, again unselectable in a rendered view, but selectable if we switch that off. So this is one advantage of using layers. So let's just switch that on to transparent or template mode, and what I'm going to do is generate a big sphere around the whole thing. Now for this you might want to use a NURB sphere because you'll get a smoother response from it, but you might be happy with a polygon. And again, you can change the subdivisions if you like, and if we go inside, let's just switch that onto rendered view now. You can see that if I position the camera, it's starting to look like a landscape. Alright, so the last thing we'll do is we'll just apply a fun texture to this. You can see that as you pull out the camera, you hit an issue with the edge of the sphere, so you need to be a little bit careful how you set this up. So this sphere here, I'm just going to assign a new texture to it, just so that you get an idea of how quickly you can get a realistic looking sky. And to the colour I'm going to attach something called a ramp. So I'm using the map button, and I've gone to the ramp here, and it's already put it on the right angle for me going from top to bottom. Let's scroll out, you can see exactly what's happening there. So using a ramp, fairly easy. It's attached to the colour at the moment, so I can pull this blue down. If I want to get rid of a colour, I click here. If I want to change, so this green is not really the right colour for a sky, so if I want to change it, I can just select the colour there, change it to a different colour, maybe an orangey colour, and we start to see what we've got happening in the environment. And if I wanted to, I could start making lights and really go into town with this and start making objects to go into my scene. So that's one thing we can do. I'm going to pretty much leave it there. But I will tell you that there is now a better way in Maya of doing this. If you're a little bit more advanced and you're ready to deal with it and you've kind of got to grips with this, you can go to your Maya render settings, which is just this button at the top here, and you can switch that over so that it's not on Maya software but it's on Mental Ray. Okay, Mental Ray is a more complicated rendering engine, and built into it is indirect lighting, and there's two options you have in indirect lighting. I've just clicked on that, just waiting for it to go. You've got physical, sky and sun, and you've got image based lighting. Both of these are really useful. So this dome here that I've created is similar to the physical, sky and sun. So if I just go in here and render it, you'll see what I mean. So I'll just render that image before I make a visible sky and sun. So that's what it looks like at the moment. Alright, and then I can get rid of this, and I will create a physical sky and sun. And there's loads of options that are to do with this, and you can start playing around with these options and changing things so that you're happy with them. And looking at position that, we can start positioning this, and again, if I render that now, we should see an environment which is not just looking like it's got a horizon on it, but also it's got lighting from a particular direction set up for it. It's quite whited out at the moment, it's quite bright, we might need to turn it down in terms of the strength of it, obviously the middle of the day. And you can see the sky there, and you can see that that's creating kind of a sky-like environment as well with a horizon and how that works. So quite a nice, easy fix, but it sets up a lot of lighting for you, does a lot of the work for you. You still need to do the modelling, but it does set up an environment for you, so it might be a better way forward. You don't have the same problem with zooming out. However, the first method that I showed you is a nice, easy way to get into this, and it means you don't have to understand everything that's going on down here to be able to change the colour of the sky and the environment. Have fun with those skills. I hope that it's been useful, and I'm going to sign off there.